All right, so what I want to do now, we're gonna have this kind of interview question kind of thing, right? I want what I wanted to do. I want to make stuff informative. So I want somebody to be able to see this. I'm breaking them in segments anyway, but I want somebody to be able to see this and watch it and feel like they take something from it. Even though I feel like we did do a lot that I didn't plan on talking about in the first half, so that was good. But I want somebody to watch this and be able to use this later on. Even if I gotta send it to somebody.
Right.
All right. So with the interview style process, right, I want to talk about some do's and don'ts.
Okay.
All right, so some stuff can be repetitive because we talked about earlier, but
Right.
and then also I want you to think of two questions right now because we're gonna ask Juan. I'm sorry, I love you, Jace. We're gonna ask my guy these questions, okay?
Okay.
And then we're gonna determine whether those are good answers or if he's not getting the job. Either he hired or we'll call you in 3 days, okay?
You'll receive an email. You'll get an email.
So we're going. One of the first ones I want to talk about is clothing, like what to wear.
Got you.
So give me some do's and don'ts on what to wear to an interview.
Okay. Definitely research the company. You definitely want to research the company. You don't want to, I always say this, you never want to show up to McDonald's in a 3-piece suit just to be the fry cook. I know that sounds pretty bad.
Overdressing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you kind of want to read the room. However, I will also, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So I would say you don't want to overdress, but I would rather you overdress than underdress. So definitely making sure that you read the room. Certain environments, khakis, a nice collar shirt, and a belt is fine. Certain things you're going to need maybe some slacks, button down, and a tie, briefcase, just the proper accessories. With ladies, you may want to do some slacks. I always tell women I like it better. I competed in interviewing in high school. So one of the things that they always taught us, it's crazy that I do interviews now for a living.
I know, right?
Right? Okay. So yeah, one of the things that they taught us is basically a lot of time when women come in, they feel, if it's a guy, sometimes you have to know how to read the room, read the economy, and it's better now because we've definitely progressed as women. But a business suit, slacks. You don't want to do too many skirts depending on the position, but definitely slacks, a nice shirt, nice blouse. Heels, you want to keep it to a minimum. So you don't want to wear your highest stilettos. Just a nice little pump, a nice flat is fine. I know a lot of times when people come in and they're thinking like, oh, I'm really professional. I look really good. And the outfit could be like killer. Like it could be really good. Like you could be dressed, assignment understood. However, technically it's really not understood because you're kind of overdressed and you just look really cute, like maybe a cute church outfit,
right.
But the heel is too high. So definitely read the room, research the company, know what you're applying for, and know how they typically dress on a day-to-day basis when they're doing conducting interviews. So yeah.
So let me ask you about a don't, because I know you give a lot of dudes, like basketball shorts would be a no, right? White tee, flip-flops, sandals. Yeah. I just see a lot.
You're right, and I would say that would kind of be a given, but it's not a given anymore.
And that athlete would spark all of this because I've seen it as a recurring thing like all the time. Mm-hmm. And this was, we blame COVID, but this was like kind of a little before pre-COVID.
I blame the education system.
Somewhere, somehow, yeah, definitely.
That should definitely be a course.
I definitely think so. I'm 100% agreeing with you. I think that a lot of, especially in the South, because like I went to school in New York, but then I came down here and they had this thing called tech prep, and it sounds really good. Like, oh, okay, so if I want to go to college, I can go here and get a trade,
Mm-hmm.
But they don't really train you for that. They don't. You go in there, you write definitions down in the back of the book, in them kind of class. I'm dead serious. Like you don't fix no car parts. You got automotive, and you just write down what the words mean.
Right.
And you get a vocab test, and you pass the class. That's all it is, So I do feel like they should take more consideration with doing things like a business. You got a little bit. You got FBLA. You got DECA.
What I say. You have DECA. You have FBLA.
That'd be like 20 students. It's a whole faculty.
Well, see, where I came from, I also feel like it's pretty much dependent upon where you go to school as well. Because when I were at my school, it was popular. So, but it was also a really good teacher. So, also, I would say the education system. It starts early on with having the right people, relatable people, in those type of classes or courses, teaching those courses. Because, if I have Miss Pat, who's 90, I'm not going to listen to Miss Pat because I'm like, Miss Pat doesn't really know. But if I have a Jermaine come in and tell me like, oh, that ain't, yeah, I know you think you're killing it right now, but that's not how you dress for an interview. Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay, I can see that. But I'm agree with you. I think that it got to be a class somewhere. If it's not, I mean, it ain't gotta be actually in school. It could just be something that's going on. You got all these activists going on for all these different, causes. That's a cause,
Right.
Go learn how to do it. Learn how to do a tie. Learn how to dress for the right. Read the room. All that type of stuff. So I'll get you on there. Let's talk about body language in an interview. Answering the question actually. So just confidence. Like, give me some do's and don'ts as far as like what you like or what you look at and what you notice that you don't like.
When conducting an interview, you definitely want body language. You don't want to sit with your arms crossed, because that kind of shows that you're closed off. Well, it shows that you're closed
How am I
off.
sitting right now? I'm good.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Okay, I'm pretty confident right now too.
You confident?
I'm very confident.
Okay,
Yeah.
you look confident. So
Thank you.
that's good.
Got the job?
but Did you get the job?
Yes.
No, I'm not really feeling the pink hat with the
Gotcha.
blue.
That's all good. Bad color coordination.
Yeah,
Didn't read the room.
did not read the room.
Overdressed.
But, it depends on what you're looking for, too. So I will say that. Some areas, you may be good. But for what you're doing right now, a podcast, you're looking for something relaxed.
Oh, you still on my hat? You still on my hat?
Huh?
You still on my hat?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, okay.
I was still on. I was still on reading the room. I was still reading the room. Because even when it came to me coming to do the podcast, I was like, well, should I do something chill or should I kind of dress up? But then you also have to know who's your target audience.
Right.
I'm not looking to receive a job. I definitely want to help people who are looking for a job and may not know some of the things that we're going to talk about, which I do feel like a t-shirt and just some jeans is cool because I want to speak to the younger generation, those who may not have had anyone tell them what to wear or how to sit. So yeah, body language, crossed arms. You definitely don't want to cross your legs. You just want to kind of cross your feet. I can't show them, but yeah, you'll cross your feet. I'm sitting on my feet right now. Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Do I look confident?
Yeah, you got the job.
Got the job?
Yeah, you got the job. Hey, here we go.
All right. How much y'all paying? No, I just playing.
Hey.
But you do want to ask questions like
Not that one though,
Definitely
right? That's a good one. That's a good one or bad one?
I mean, I wouldn't say it that way, but you definitely want to say, what's starting salary? If they already didn't tell you, that is okay to ask. And I definitely just had this conversation probably about 3 days ago. Ask what you're getting paid.
So my research of that, I found it was people said no when people said yes. Like some companies said don't do that, and then some companies said it's about how you ask it.
Exactly. So you just don't want to come out and say like, well, how much y'all paying an hour?
Got you.
But you definitely say, well, starting off in this role, what is your starting rate? So that way they can kind of get that conversation flowing. And a lot of times what happens is people want to ask it so bad, and then it bugs the person that is actually having to do the hiring process and like push you through. Because you've called me, but you just left from doing the interview, and it's kind of like you wanted to know that whole time.
Personal.
And you didn't ask me how much you were getting paid. I would have told you.
Your face started twitching a little when you was talking about it.
Oh my goodness. I'm thinking about work already.
Hold on, I want to pause. All right, so Juan wants a job, apparently. So I want you to ask him a question, and then he's gonna answer. And I want to know if that's a good answer or not.
All right.
Or if he hired or fired. We're gonna do two. So we're gonna he might get the first shot. I don't know, but it's one now. We'll go back to this, and then we go back to him again.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead. It's your turn.
All right. Thank you for meeting with me, Jace. So my next question is, tell me something that you could improve in.
Man. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm perfect in every area. Like, everything there is to do at this job, I've done it before at other jobs. And there's no area I can improve in. I don't think so. I think I'm pretty good.
Confident.
Very confident.
Great.
Yeah.
Jermaine, did he get a job?
I have to ask another question. We gotta see. Right now, he's on the fence. I don't know.
He's on the fence with that?
I feel like the energy wasn't really there. Like, he was very like, it's kind of, I don't know. I have to ask him another question and find out.
Chilling, man.
It was a no for me.
Yeah, see, I'm chilling. you see, I'm chilling, man. Like, we not here to chill. We here to work type vibe,
it was
you know?
a no.
Oh,
it was a no.
I mean, I'm
That's
perfect, bro. Like,
Yeah, he basically said he was perfect.
no
which we know-
flaws. I'm not human. I'm not human.
No.
You crazy?
He was late for the interview. I mean, he
That's
definitely could improve in
crazy.
time
I mean,
management,
oh
clearly.
my God, Grace. Talking about a Grace. Come on, man.
Wow.
Crazy, man.
Oh boy.
This a tough crowd, man.
I got I got one of my notes that says how to act, and it did say stay poised. So you was poised. I mean, you poised, of course, but you want you do somebody that's eager though. You want to feel like they want the job as well. His answer it gave me different vibes. It was like it was confident, but also like if y'all ain't got me, I just get something else.
Right. It was
type of
confident,
deal.
but almost cocky.
Arrogant
Yeah.
to yeah.
So you definitely want to be confident, but like he said, not too arrogant.
Hey, next question, to ask it with more love. Okay, get some more love in there.
Man.
All right. I don't know what you got going on. Just chill. Get
Gotcha.
you a
Did
bottle
he
of
interview
water.
for this?
No, we good.
Did you interview him?
The pool wasn't that great,
Yeah.
man. People came with
COVID.
shorts on, and I
Right.
had to just pick him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? No big deal.
I understand.
Pressure from the big company, big higher
got
ups. Just pick somebody.
Fill that spot, meet that quota.
That's my guy, though. That's my guy. I got something on highlight. So he mentioned being perfect, and my notes that I seen, it says something about highlighting your accomplishments and highlighting good things to kind of, I guess, compensate for your weaknesses. So everybody gonna have them. So like, how do you feel about that? Like, or what's your do's and don'ts on highlighting your, I guess, successes at your previous companies that you worked at?
Right. So one of my favorite ones, I guess I'll let this one out, but I use this pretty much whatever interview I've ever done. This has always been the one I've used. And it's basically the same thing, that I'm a perfectionist, because who wouldn't want someone as a perfectionist working for their company? That's a good thing, but it can also, when they ask what is a negative thing, that I'm a perfectionist, because sometimes it'll get in my way. I think I'm in my head a lot. I'm overthinking some of the situations that, it's kind of like, well, Destiny could have been done in 5 minutes. Well, it took me 10 because I was trying to make sure that it was right. Or I didn't want to ask for help because I knew that I could do it and I had it, I want to do it a certain way. So definitely using things, you don't want to give it as a too negative. So, like, oh yeah, I suck at coming to work on time. Yeah, you want to probably save that. Save that. Let them figure it out. Or improve in it. But yeah, the perfectionist, that's a good one. Just also using negatives that can also turn into a positive. So yeah.
Talking about past employers. How deep should you go in that? Like, or how should you talk about them? Should you be negative? Should you be positive? Like, so you like it was all you and they were just dumb, or like how should you bring that up in your interview?
You definitely don't want to be negative, but you also want to be honest. So if it was something where you needed to grow and needed to mature, let the people know, let your interviewer know that. Now, if it was because you were just, you were fired because you could never show up on time, or you were caught stealing time, you may want to leave that off your resume. So just knowing how far to go. And I will always say, you never want to turn it into a negative standpoint, because I have seen people come in and do an interview and bash the company, like tell it all. And it's kind of like, well, geez, if we make you mad, are you going to go to the next interview and say what we did to you? Or, so you always want to be honest, but you never want to speak about them in a negative manner. So
what about speaking about them as it pertains to the company you're interviewing for now? Like maybe bringing up positives that would show that you can work for that company that you're interviewing for. Would that,
definitely. You definitely want to talk about your characteristics, some of the things that you had to do for the previous company. When you're looking at your job description for the current company that you're interviewing for, you definitely want to see, oh, well, this matches with what I did here. So knowing things about like that, looking at job descriptions, reviewing that, researching the company, seeing what they are looking for will also help you know what to talk about with your previous company.
Gotcha.
So always try to match it up that way. And I always say that's a good way to be positive with the previous company. So if you know you did XYZ here and they're looking for XYZ there, talk about it there.
All right, it's your turn again. I want you to ask one other question.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think of one that fast.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You
Well, I
got
can
one?
ask one. Yes, I can definitely do that.
You got one?
All right, Juan. I love you, Jace. Juanito. Tell me about a time where you exceeded the expectations of your role for a customer.
Okay.
Mr. Perfect.
No, he went above and beyond.
No, he didn't.
That's a great one.
This should be every day.
Every minute.
Don't rush to answer. You answer when you're ready, sir.
Yeah. I was on a forklift, and it was a pallet that was very high I was already working on, and I brung everything down and got off the forklift, went to go help the customer, and the customer needed like 30 bags of concrete. And I went and loaded up 30 bags for this customer, and then on the cart, paid for it, then went to the vehicle and loaded up inside their vehicle. Pretty much, yeah. exceeding
right.
expectations for the customer.
So, does he have the job or?
What do you
You could
think?
be honest. You could be honest. You could be honest.
Would you give him the job?
So, it's my guy, right? It's my guy. He got the job ready. But based on the answer, so let me tell you why I wouldn't. So the reason why, if it was up to me, because I asked him about exceeding. So everything he said just now was in the normal role. It was nothing like that was like extreme to me. Mm-hmm. But I get that you want to answer the question. That's why I always say like take your time and then think about what they're asking you. Mm-hmm. Now if he just said something like, okay, so. I work somewhere different now. I don't work with y'all no more, right? So I work somewhere different now, right? So it's this thing we gotta do, and a customer management. We gotta like go call a customer, and they give you a number, and you gotta see what's wrong, and you gotta try to fix it, you resolve the issue. So in doing that, she was telling me she got this little gate, and they supposed to deliver it. This is before I got there. They never delivered it. She just need one more gate. She don't pay for delivery. Blah 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 blah. All right, cool. So I went to the machine. The register, I did a refund for the delivery, put it back on her card. There's a little gate, so I put it in my car, and as I was going home, I just dropped it off. I called and said, I'm coming to drop it off. This is real. This is for, I'm not lying, So I dropped it off to her. That's something I would say is exceeding. Right. I didn't have to do that.
Exactly.
I could have just said, all right, well, we deliver it to you Tuesday.
Right.
I ain't going to be there Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
nah, I said, okay, let me go ahead and take care and make sure it's done. So, and it's stuff, and the reason why I'm being like real transparent with that, because a lot of times when I'm interviewing now, I notice that even that answer is better than what I be hearing. That answer is way better. Some answers not really good. Like I'll ask them, give me a time when you did whatever, and they would say, "Oh, I did it all the time at Walmart." Yeah, man, all the customers, I always did that.
Right.
Give me one time.
Exactly.
One time, bro.
And then it's almost like, yeah, as a cashier, I get what you're saying, because it's like if you come in as a cashier, like, oh yeah, I took money from this lady because her card wasn't working, and I waited a long time and the line was long. But it's kind of like that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
That's your job description. That's not going above and beyond. Certain questions, though, I would also tell people do mock interviews. Mm-hmm. That helps a lot, and those are common questions. Like the questions that we ask, those are common questions. Mm-hmm. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to ask you something similar to that. So already have take notes or, things that you definitely want to mention. I do say a lot of times people don't do that. They know it's something that should be done. Mm-hmm. But when interviewing, and once you went on 6 interviews, you're tired. Mm-hmm. It's a full-time job looking for a job. We get it. However, anytime that you have the opportunity to sell yourself.
One thing I would say is, and this is what I did my last one I did have, right? I wrote stuff down that I thought that would be good answers for whatever they asked me. So I wouldn't forget, because sometimes when you're in that room and you it's on the line, you're like, damn. So you'll forget. Right. So I make sure I wrote stuff down so that I would just go to it and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to say. This is what I want to say. And then you go ahead and say it. But I also took notes of stuff they're asking me, or because sometimes we have dialogue within that question. Mm-hmm. And this is when you're doing hour interviews or whatever it can be. But, some interviews, even if 15, 20 minutes, you still want to kind of do that. But I want to make it clear, because it's not none of the notes. Nothing in this is going to tell you how to answer the questions. Right. But I think that being as detailed as possible is always important. And anybody, because you record me all the time, I'm telling you a story, I want you to feel like you're there. Right. So and I'm answering these questions, I want you to feel like you're there. And that's I can't get no more detail than that. If I don't get it from there, then that's just on me. But the last thing I want to talk about interviewing though is exiting. So, and I got this from you one time we was talking, and you was like, you should always ask questions at the end of the interview. Always ask questions. Don't say, no, I ain't got nothing, because just always ask questions. Because it might be a question you ask that might be better than your answers. Mm-hmm. My last interview I had, I asked a question, and I ended up staying there for 30 extra minutes. Right. So I knew that was the right question.
Right. So that all goes into preparing for the interview. And even just doing the job search, knowing what you're looking for. As I stated, they are looking to fill these roles. However, like we said, you're going to spend half of your time there in that place of employment. So you also want to let them know, yeah, I'm selling myself, but you also are selling your company to me. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that I've already come with some goals and some things, even if it's how fast, can I move up here? What does the promotions look like here? All types of things of those natures you want to ask, because they also have to, you have to feed your family. You're going to provide for your family. So you want to look for stability in these companies. You want to know what type of environment they have. How How do they boost the morale? What type of celebrations they have? I actually had someone come in and sit in and do an orientation, and it kind of threw the leadership team off because she was like, well, how do you celebrate your associates? And everybody was just looking around, and I'm like, well, yeah. Y'all tell her how you celebrate your associates. Like, what do you show? What type of appreciation? But clearly, that was something that was big to her. She wanted to feel appreciated at work. So if you have something that you are looking, you say, well, my next job, I want it to be this. And I say keep a journal, because sometimes when you're in your current jobs or your current roles, as we said, oh, well, when we move up, I want to incorporate this, or I'll always do this. When you go when you're currently in your job, take notes of those things, and that way, when you go into your interview, you can say, "Well, this is something that I'm currently looking for. Do you all have this here?" Mm-hmm. So that's always good.
Nah, I think that's probably the best part. I like that, like the end of the interview, because the pressure's off you at that point. It's on them now, really.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So use that time. Good punch.
Oh wow! Don't do that one time.
Good
Oh
punch.
yeah, definitely knockout. Definitely knockout.
Okay.
But I'm sorry. Juan is a funny guy. I mean, love Jace, whatever he going by these
You just
days.
been calling him whatever.
That's my guy, man. He been answering whatever, so you know. It's okay. But he always says
That's funny.
But I definitely appreciate the time that you gave me. Do you have any questions for me?
I feel like I'm in an interview now.
Well, we wasn't interviewing the whole time.
Always leave with questions.
That's my guy.
What
right
was
there.
that?
Always leave with questions.
That's my guy.
Always leave with questions.
Yeah, you hired. You got the job, bro. You got the job.
No, he did not.
See, his answer was horrible, but then at the end,
But it's because he used something against me that I had already said.
Yes,
that was
sir.
pretty good. That was pretty
Yes,
good.
sir.
Now, I don't have any questions for you. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk with you today. I enjoyed it. It's
definitely,
really
definitely.
good.
You'll be hearing from me in 3 days, okay? No,
Check your email.
No, I'm just playing.
Also do follow-ups, especially for depending upon the role. I definitely want to say that.
Follow-ups.
If I'm looking for a part-time job and I don't hear anything within 2 days, maybe it wasn't something that I was just in desperate need to have. But say I'm looking for a promotion, and I've applied for a role that I normally wouldn't even apply for, but I've taken the opportunity to go ahead and put myself out there. Ask for a follow. Send an email. Thanking them for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity of meeting with me. Look forward to hearing from you all. Just to kind of put it out there. Half of the time, most of the time now, it's generated. Like I said, emails. I just put it in the system. An email is generated. I'm done with it. But if I receive that email or a phone call from someone saying, "Hi, I'm just wanting to check up on the role," I prefer emails, by the way. A lot of people prefer emails. That's one thing that I have definitely learned in that role. Send an email.
And have a professional email too.
Definitely have a professional email. Hotsexy93 is not what I want to respond to. And then especially, it's difficult for me to say it on the phone. Like, oh, you want me to send your background check to hotsexy93@gmail.com. So, yeah, definitely have a professional email. Now I'm just going over a whole bunch of dues.
I like that.
A professional email. You definitely want to have that. You also want to keep record of positions that you have applied for. If I reach out to you saying, "Hi, I'm calling on behalf of so-and-so, we would love to schedule an interview with you," it's kind of a slap in the face for you to turn around and say like, "Oh yeah, but what job is it now?" Have a role, a running roster of what you've applied for. Don't just be out there applying and not keeping track of what you're doing, because then it kind of shows me, well, maybe they're just applying for anything. They really don't care what we give them. So definitely keep track of the positions that you apply for and just some mindful tips on it, or the job description or whatever. I learned that coming out of college from my auntie. Hey, and Pam. But yeah.
How she look?
She's married.
That didn't answer my question, did it? No,
We're not about to do this today.
I'm playing. What's up, Pam? Oh, this was dope though. I think you did a good job too. I like this. What you think, Juan? Like, I know we didn't hire you and all that, but I did hire you. She didn't. But what you think about this? You think this is informative? You learn anything?
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot.
Is there anything that you think people should know?
You basically cover all bases.
Really?
Especially at the end, you added a lot more.
Yeah, I think the end was it was dope.
Yeah, definitely keep that. Look at me, gonna reiterate. Yeah, definitely keep that email professional. Keep those questions there.
Need to though.
Yeah. Another thing is also look into the job description. Do several resumes, do several cover letters. That is very imperative as well. All resumes, it could be bomb.
What's
it
a
may
cover
not.
letter?
So a cover letter is basically a letter, just something. It's a good source to show like a writing style. A lot of companies are looking to see, depending on the position, can you actually type up an email? So that cover letter is showing them, hi, I'm professional. It's basically giving them a synopsis of what you have going on. So before I actually get you in an interview, it's telling me why I would want to interview and kind of giving me everything that you would tell me in an interview in a short, probably like about 3 paragraphs, no more than 3 paragraphs, because if it's more than 3 paragraphs, I'll be honest, we are not going to read it all. I would say they'll probably start off, but they probably won't finish it. Your resume should also not be too long.
I didn't mention this to it. I should have said it. You might want to bring your resume. I know.
Definitely bring a hard copy of your
say that,
resume.
yeah.
Definitely bring a
it.
hard copy of your resume. And it also is a good thing to have something to reference back to when referring to your previous roles and to know some of the things. Because like you said, when you get in that room, the pressure is high. So you definitely want to be able to look down and reference back to your resume. I love bringing my resume.
One time I had an interview, like 3 interviews that day, maybe 4 or 5, and all was bad. One guy had basketball shorts on. I knew I wasn't listening. He said, "Look, you can't wow me. I'm sorry. There's no way." And then it was some other people, and they didn't give answers. But this particular guy, he did curse in the interview, which I thought was wow. But he was so confident and I don't know. It was something about him. He didn't get the job. But listen. I picked him though. I'm just saying who I picked. I can't say. It's sometimes multiple people get the pick. But I think that the other part was that he had an interview. He had his resume, but he was dressed up too. It was just for stocking job. He was going to do stocking, but he dressed up, had his resume, had a background in it, and every time he answered the question, he answered it fully. Like he went in maybe great detail, but he went into detail. Yeah.
Have a voicemail set up. Those are some dudes. Definitely have a voicemail set up. You definitely don't want to be looking for a job and we've called you and it says that your mailbox is full. Luckily, the day and age that we are currently in, we send a lot of text messages, but having a voicemail set up makes it so much easier because I could leave you that voicemail. You never know. That could be a job that you missed out on because you didn't want to set up a voicemail.
What? I would say that we talk about COVID and how it changed things, right? And
phone interviews?
No, not that, but the texting. Because I had somebody just text me something and they had to go somewhere. But I seen the last message, I guess them telling him he got the job. And I'm like, why did they text that to him? I guess his phone might have been, but that's not professional to me. I don't know. It's always wild. But I know company has to change with the time. So
exactly.
Like maybe 5 years ago it wasn't, but now it is.
Exactly. Especially for the people that we're catering to now. As you say, the younger generation are in there. They're not answering those phones, especially with the scam likely calls. Yeah, they got me. So definitely going to put that out there. So I find it best practice to send text messages. I'm pretty sure most people in my role or roles similar to me, they pretty much say like a text message will definitely get the job done because people are more likely to respond to that text message than they are to call your number back. So I always like sending text messages if I can't get you on the phone. I try the phone first though.
Hey, can you imagine sending the wrong text to the person trying to get you a job?
That has actually happened. That has definitely happened.
I can imagine it.
But I kind of just look over it and say like, oh, I don't even respond because I know things
drug
happen.
Test, he should be fine.
You said they passed the drug test?
Maybe they asked for something.
Oh, yeah.
You said yeah.
Because that brought me to my next thing. If you're looking for a job, let's try to stay away from the drugs. I mean, I just feel
first. Jesus Christ.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least while you're in the process of looking for a job and trying to provide for your family, you have no idea how many people come in and say like, oh, well, yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm trying to provide for my family. So you want me to take your kids into consideration. However, you will not take your kids into consideration and put the marijuana down for a month until you get into a job. Yeah. So, definitely let's say no to drugs, at least until you get into that role. I would say no all the way, but, to each its own.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't do drugs. So definitely happy that you finally came through. I know you're a busy woman, so I don't mind it taking 6 months. It was all good. You got the job. What's going on?
That was not the way to end an interview, but...
Oh, no, you ended it wrong a long time ago. You didn't have no question for me.
COVID.
All right, that we can still catch it, but okay.
Well, I don't know. I see a lot of people do that now,
catch it for a little
especially
while,
like coming into it. That they don't shake hands. They definitely do the elbow now. It's kind of like COVID type thing. If they even come in person, because a lot of the phone interviews answer the phone in a proper manner as well.
Your hair looks nice.
Thank you. You like it?
I like it.
Oh, I hadn't seen you. That's right.
Yeah, we don't work together no more.
I know, Tier. He got promoted.
All right. Morning Master Podcast, we out. This was great. This was very great. This was great. Let me see what Jace did with the camera. All right, we good?